All right, good afternoon, everyone. How are we doing? Everyone been learning quite a bit today, I assume? It's been a lot of information thrown out your way, and obviously, looking back at my own perspective of first being introduced into iCovest, I fully recognize that there's a lot going on here. Not only from the jurisdiction side, the law side, the finance side, but also just in terms of being able to become a member of our community if that's what you want to do, right? And it's not something so simple you can just step right into it and feel like you're committed to this, because you really got to know, you really got to have the understanding right up here, but more importantly, you got to have this right here, and fully knowing this is a movement of the people for the people, right? And making sure that we have a place to be and help others around us in the near future, okay? And so that's kind of the important part with the 7 Cashflow vehicles that we operate, in a trust construct through iCovest that is so incredibly powerful, because we're not doing anything alone here. We're doing everything as a community, as a group, both decisions and also actions, and all the vehicles that I'm going to show today. So I'm going to jump right into it, right? So the first vehicle, you've already been kind of introduced to it and seen around it, iCovest Market. Simple as that. That is the location. If you have a business, if you sell products, right, you can become a small business member, okay, and list your products on iCovest Market. That's already being taken place today. We have several business owners who list their products. So an SBM, a small business member, right, is what you can become as a membership of the marketplace. And there's actually rewards and royalties involved with that if you become a small business member. But plain and simple, you can list your product on the website, icovestmarket.org, and those transactions, right, when done through ICO, are tax accepted. Once again, giving you more alleviation for your business and what you list on our marketplace when you conduct your business there, okay? So that's iCovest Market, number one, okay? I think that's probably the most simple thing you can think of, right? The closest relative being, Amazon, something like that. If you want to list your business there, something like that, that's iCovest Market. Now let's get into something that's a little bit more complex, but still simple. And as Bishop mentioned, I'm in the military, so I'm going to use pictures. I'm going to use simple figures, okay? Nothing too complex, right? I'm going to keep things very simple, okay? We have a methodology. It's called KISS. Keep it stupid simple. So that's how I like to operate when I give presentations, okay? So I'm not trying to insult anyone's intelligence or anything like that. So real estate, right? Here's what we do. This is just an example. Let's say in this example we have 10 of our community members, okay, and they want to be involved in real estate through iCovest. They become participating procurement members. In short, PPMs, okay? They're bona fide volunteers, members in this cash flow vehicle. And between these 10 members, let's just say they're able to accumulate $1 million. And you're probably thinking, 10 people, $1 million, realistically, that's the small percentage of people in the U.S. who'd be able to do that. I'm actually going to show you later on today, if you stay for it, how 10 people can accumulate $1 million for essentially for free. If you want to see that presentation, it's going to be pretty incredible. So they accumulate $1 million, right? They syndicated together. They came together as a movement, and they came up with $1 million. What they use that towards is a down payment on a property. Okay? Typically speaking, for a loan of this size, it's going to be about a 25% down payment. So that's going to be a $4 million loan amount on a multi-unit property. Depending on where that property is acquired, okay, that can be anywhere from 30 to 50 units, depending on, of course, market conditions, inventory, and so forth. Once again, this is just a very plain and simple example. So once we have that property, right, within the trust, it's obviously going to start generating cash flow, right? We rent it out, 2 tenants. It's pretty basic. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that, once again, all of that is tax accepted because we're doing it through iCovest. So when that property starts generating that cash flow goes back to the participating procurement members, those PPMs, in the form of the secure dollars, the ICO AG, the ICO AU, the gold and silver coins, goes to the members, and at the end of the day, when that transaction takes place, is tax accepted. So our cash-on-cash returns from all these properties, right, all these co-investments is going to be significantly higher than any other portfolio because we're saving on those tax savings there. And there's several other things that actually goes into this. A lot of details, a lot of numbers, a lot of crunching. If you want to learn about it, come to class on Wednesdays, because we do go into the details and we prove to you number by number, looking at real properties, what it would look like for the community if we co-invested in that asset. So that's real estate. Then we have real biz, or real business, which we co-locate with these real estate acquisitions. So things, CPOs for business, that's community procurement opportunities, could be Bob Mac, right? Could be Coffee Monkey, right? Two brands you're probably familiar with, being in here just this past couple days, or a new idea, or a new business. If you use something that could be co-located with a real estate acquisition, that'd be beneficial for the community, and people want to co-invest in that idea, why couldn't it be yours as well, right? So that's real biz. Then we have, of course, your iCovesting account, or your IVA, which is soon going to be transitioning to your secure vault. Okay, so this is also very simple. It's just the acquisition of ICOs, which represent real silver and gold. Both of those are appreciating assets. It hasn't really been, jumped into too deeply as to why gold and silver are going to appreciate. We really get more into that on our Mondays and Wednesday night calls. But we do know for a fact that gold and silver are going to appreciate tremendously. And these ICOs, all right, can be leveraged. Okay, that's the monetization of this asset. It's not just silver that's just sitting in a vault somewhere. It's not just gold that's sitting in a vault somewhere. Based on how much of that asset you control, right, in your own IVA, in your own secure vault, you can leverage that for the future. So for personal use, if you wanted to buy a car, buy a boat, right, you can leverage up to 70% of your IVA holding, of your secure vault holding, for personal use. 90% for CPOs, other community procurement opportunities. You can obviously kind of see what we're leaning towards, right, with that leverageability there. And what's nice about this, it's the whole idea, whole concept of being your own bank, right? Because when you leverage it against your own asset, who are you paying back at the end of the day? Yourself. You're not paying back the community, you borrowed from yourself. You're paying back yourself. You're being your own bank. I think the clicker might have died on me. All right, here we go. Then we have iCovest Capital Group, okay? Plain and simple. If you know someone's trying to buy a home, if you know someone's trying to refinance a home, as a member of our community, you simply drop their name in our hat, in our phone book, or say, hey, you need to call iCovest Capital Group. You can actually earn what's called tell-a-friend royalties. Okay, and for any realtors or loan officers in the room, right, this is completely RESPA compliant. I can go into the full explanation of that, what RESPA is. I can, if we can talk offline, more than happy to. This is 100% RESPA compliant. So tell a friend royalties. If you know someone trying to buy, trying to refinance, simply tell them to call iCovest Capital Group. We'd be more than happy to help them. Georgia, Florida, or California. And that's royalties of 10 to 65%. 10 to 65% of what? Whatever the commission was off of that loan, right, that went to that borrower, 10 to 65%, right, would be remitted to your IVA in the form of silver. I think towards the end of last year, we did well over, I would say, probably $100,000 or so in commissions, Keith, plus or minus like a few dollars, right? Pretty incredible. Imagine getting 10 to 65% of that towards your IVA. We also have trust-owned life insurance, TOLI for short. So once again, same 10 participating procurement members, okay? They came together, and using easy numbers once again, and they were able to amass, you guessed it, $1 million, okay? Just in this example. So 10 people, $1 million, each of them gave, let's just say, $100,000. So each of them have 10% holdings in this opportunity. So what they do, or what we do, is for policy holders, those people who came together, they syndicated $1 million, they say, hey, we're going to cover your policy. We're going to pay that monthly premium it takes to keep that policy alive for however long we need to, okay? So because of that, there's no cost to the policyholder. Anyone here interested in getting a free whole life insurance policy? I got to see a couple hands around the room. Yeah, I'm interested, right? So no cost to the policyholders. And in this example, let's just say since we have 7 shadows up there, so we have $7 million, okay, in total policy holdings, right? So when that policy pays out at the end of it, 20% goes to the family, okay? So the policyholder, they got a free policy, and 20% of whatever was worth went to the policyholder's beneficiaries, their family. They didn't have to pay a dime into that. 10% of that goes to the trust, the Community Stabilization Fund, right? Part of the Grain House Initiative, what Najwa was talking about. That's $700,000. And the remainder, the 70%, goes back to the PPMs, the participating procurement members, the individuals who actually put up the money, right, to cover those policies. So, broken down, you take that $4.9 million at the end of it, divide that by 10, because each of them had 10%, right? That's going to be $490,000 per PPM, once again in the form of secure dollars, ICOs, AGs, and that's all tax accepted. And that's on the low end, as a matter of fact, for syndicating $1 million. Then we have the infinite cash flow management system. And I really want you to focus on that last word, system, because this is built into everything that we do. It's not just some standalone product, if you will. For short, you call it the ICFMS, Infinite Cash Flow Management System. This is a dynamic change to your way of life, the way you manage finances. Everything that you do within your own wallet now can be leveraged with the Infinite Cash Flow Management System to increase your own personal cash flow. So within the ICFMS, we're providing turnkey solutions for Main Street. Because there's so much that goes into this, a lot of knowledge, a lot of studying, a lot of understanding, honestly, for the most part, it's not realistic for most people to just kind of jump right into this model and kind of restructure the whole life. It takes some help. That's why we have community leaders. That's why we have strategic philanthropists. That's why we have iCovest Academy. iCovest.academy, go check it out. A little plug. So we teach interest cancellation. It was brought up a few times, DMS, Debenture Management System, just by restructuring how you control your finances. If you own a mortgage, we can actually show you how you pay it off in 1/3 of the time. So if it's a 30-year mortgage, we can show you through reconstruction of your finances, paid off 1/3 of the time, cancel 2/3 of the total interest you would have paid on that property. That's interest cancellation. Interest accumulation, right? Not only in the assets that we have in both silver and gold, but also in various accounts that we'll be pursuing in the future through real estate, whole life insurance, interest accumulation. The greatest inhibitor to long-term wealth is the disruption of compound growth. So we keep that compound growth, teach you how to leverage and collateralize as opposed to depleting from your principal. Interest float, right? The strategic movement of money, right, from account to account, from position to position, floats the interest so you don't pay that over time. Strategic payoff, one account versus the other, looking at the total interest rate on a daily basis, not just looking at annual, not just looking at monthly, right, but the strategic value of that account paying it off now versus later on in the future. And of course, the time value of money. We learned in the CPO both yesterday and today, the dollar is devaluating. I think almost everyone in this room hopefully can agree that's just a fact, right? It's already devalued exponentially from the time that we left the gold standard, and even more so to this day. So understanding the time value of money and being in the now, thank you, Bishop Evans, right? Every 2 to 5 seconds, the dollar is just devaluing even more. So understanding the value that it holds today and how it can be leveraged for the future is what we're practicing. So once again, all these ideas, all these concepts, we build that into real estate. You don't have to be the expert. We have the experts in our community, right? You don't have to truly understand it. We have the people who truly understand it in our community. We do that through TOLI, trust-owned life insurance. You might not understand the process. You might not understand how it works. We have the leaders and people in place who do, who are going to be properly stewarding that, right? It's in ICOs, ICO AU, ICO AG. B-Quad creation. This hasn't been touched on yet, but a B-Quad is a labor force of 500 people or more in the automation of accumulation of appreciating assets. We teach that. Where? It's in the academy. Go check it out. One more reason. And of course, iCloud creation as well, which is essentially the establishment of residual wealth, what we call residual royalties established for you into your IVA. Passive, right? Passive wealth creation. Pretty incredible stuff. So, those are our 7 cash flow vehicles in short. And I think when it comes to the ICFMS, this is some of the most exciting stuff. And obviously, it's a key discussion on money and so forth. But as I said at the very beginning of this presentation, right, if you don't have a little bit of this and understanding, right, and ultimately your heart being in the movement, we don't want your money, right? We don't want you to be thinking that this is an investment, because it's not an investment. It's a co-investment. You have to fully understand jurisdiction, ecclesiastical law, place, timing, to be able to fully participate and be a member of this movement on a voluntary basis, right? To be a co-investor in the infinite cash flow management system, totally real estate, and everything else. So I appreciate y'all's time today. Hopefully that was a good kind of rundown on
it was
what we have to offer.
Running to you, that is.
So thank you all. I appreciate it.